Hello, and welcome to The Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up during the week. I am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you feel like calling me. And welcome to you, my co-host, the chat. Always a fantastic time having you here and seeing everybody and discussing all the weird stuff that may have been going on, and the weird feelings we may have about those things that are going on. Of which I have a couple of weird feelings this week. Agent Fox, how are you doing? Oh, hey, you're live. I was starting to think you wasn't. No, Agent Fox, we are still experimenting with the 5 o'clock start time for the show. For anybody that is watching either on YouTube or watching a VOD on Twitch, we normally do the show from 3 to 5 p.m. On Friday, and lately I've been trying to move it up to 5. I figure that would help people get here if they want to get here a little bit later, because I get a lot of people that tell me that they like it, but they don't get here in time. It doesn't really hit me very much that, if I do it at 3 p.m. Eastern, people are still in school on the West Coast, or it's different times, and so I'm just trying to help everybody out here. I'm trying to make it a little more accessible for everybody else, even though, yes, you could just watch the VOD, but, you want to participate, and I want everybody to participate. I want everybody to be here. You are my co-host, and I appreciate that. Yeah, it was kind of an okay week for me. Hey, Aqua Sakura, Rai, what's going on? Hello, Greg. Yeah, it was kind of a weird week for me. Rocky Bear Mert, what's going on? I started doing some work outside. I did last Sunday actually. I have this little when we moved in, on the front of our house was like a small lawn, and then in the back we have a bigger lawn. And on the small lawn right by the stairs up against the house, we dug it out and we built like a little sort of retaining wall. And we put like the blocks and everything, and we had a little garden in there, but we don't garden. We don't garden as much as we should. So over the past 7-8 years, it has sort of overgrown itself. So Sunday I dug it all out, and I put like stones with like decorative blocks in there, and it's actually very, very nice. I did some work along the side of the house. We have another little stretch of where there used to be hedges, and that was all overgrown and messed up, so I dug all of that out and covered it in plastic. And then I did the lawn, like I mowed the lawn and everything. And I love doing that. Okay. It feels like tedious work, but I like looking at it when it's all done. I love stepping back and seeing it and like, oh, it's so great. And it always motivates me to do more. If anybody here has a yard or a lawn or a garden or something, and you know how sometimes you don't want to do that work, but then when you do it, you sort of look at it and you're like, oh, this is awesome. I really like it. And it motivates you to do more. That's how I am right now. Like I'm in this moment right now where I if I had tons of disposable income, I would be every Saturday I'd be doing more work outside, because I do like how it looks, but it costs money and it costs time, and I don't mind the time as much, just because I do want to spend a little more time outside. But yeah, it's the money. I went to Home Depot yesterday and I was looking up little Japanese maple trees. I want to do something decorative, and they're like $80. Little tree that was gonna keep in a container in a pot. It's like $80. Like, this stuff is way too expensive, man. I don't know. I think maybe having a house was a mistake. No, it's definitely not. Dragoon Knight, Gabby, Lilac, what is going on? So how has everybody else's week been, other than the craziness that we've been seeing out of a few specific things? Some stuff happened, obviously, that we're going to talk about. I like cutting the grass because I live with my mom now, who lives in an apartment. I guess that point is mute. Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's always such tedious work. Like, it always feels like, I got to do this thing. But you always kind of feel good afterwards. Like, you stop and you look at it and think, this is this is awesome. It was not as bad as I was thinking, considering that now I get to enjoy at the very least a nice view, or at the most a fantastic space to do whatever else in. It's just you got to do the work. I guess that's one of hold on. Oh, I got something new. Here, time for another Silver's Nuggets. I'm gonna make like a special clip with that, but I had to just do that. Yeah, I guess if you're not willing to work in the field, then you don't get to enjoy the garden. Oh, that's so nice. That's so fortune cookie like, isn't it? We used to steal rocks from apartment complexes for my parents' old garden. Pop the trunk and load up the rock. Yeah, Rocky Bear. That's not a bad idea, considering like rocks and boulders and stuff are crazy expensive. I feel fantastic, aka pretty average. This week's been pretty mad. Rami, what's going on? I don't mind cutting grass. I'm just hindered by my allergies to nature in general. I love the feeling. Yeah, I love the feeling of getting it done. My week has been all right. I attended a graduation for this year's graduates of the Mater Naturalist program. Mater, like tomater. Started this year monitoring monarch caterpillars by assisting pneuma. Interesting. That actually sounds very cool. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been on one of your streams. I've been busy with college studies, but the good news is that I'm going to get my associate's degree in psychology. I'll be a therapist. Woo! Mega congratulations. And don't worry about missing here. You're always welcome back whenever. We don't require a certain amount of time be put in to hang out with us. You hang out when you can, and you leave when you have to. Just like Jim Cummings is being accused of... I'm actually not familiar with who that is. Very Zen-esque. I meant to say Master Naturalist program. Okay. I thought you were like down home tomatoes. We love that Silver Nugget sign to pop up, and when the camera shows you, just say "Stop being stupid." No, I'm gonna have a little voiceover so that I don't have to announce it. I just want to push the button, and then it plays a little voiceover of like it's time for Silver's Nuggets. Oh, voice of Tigger. Oh boy. I mean, well, the voice of Tigger, I would have expected a different issue. DB Stewart, what's going on? John Poncho, hello. And Minion, what's going on? I'm back to showing up to these. Well, Minion, also, we are doing the show a little bit later. You mean the silver lining, isn't it? Of course the silver lining is not a job. Silver lining is my chance to hang out with everybody here. And it's just every once in a while, maybe I make $1 before taxes. All right. So I'll tell you what, he voiced Darkwing. Oh, he voiced Darkwing Duck. Oh god, that sucks then. Robotnik was on Hedgehog, Pete, Winnie the Pooh, since 1998. Tigger, Bonkers, the Bobcat. Wow, I forgot that Bonkers had a last name and a middle initial. And the Tasmanian Devil. Some like deep voice like the no, Rami, it would be like and now it's time for another one of Silver's Nuggets. Yeah. Or it's time for another taste of Silver's Nuggets. Okay, maybe not that one. Did you hear? Oh, Dragoon Knight. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that, and we will. I have another issue that all brings up. Ooh, that sounds wrong. What? That doesn't sound appealing. What's the matter? Does that leave a bad taste in your mouth? Is that what it is? Oh no. And now I'm calling the police. Oh man. Until silver nugget of wisdom. Yeah, there you go. I may have to stretch that out and not just leave it as silver's nuggets. Okay, I want to get into some of these topics here. Did I set that right? Oh, hold on. I may not have set that right. Oh no, did I put the wrong picture in there first? Oh, hold on a second. Oh, we are professional here. Hang on a second. See, I had all my images all lined up. I had everything ready to go, and I think I put the wrong. Yeah, I didn't put the right one in there. Hold on. Because it's not spoilers for the stream. Yeah, well, spoilers for the stream are in the title for the stream, and now we have nothing. That's why they're in the title for the stream. Where, huh? Okay. Where's my image? Oh, did it not save the image? Oh, brother. Here we're not doing this without an image. We're not unprofessional here. I wonder why it's been. You know what it's been doing lately? It's been doing this thing where it is saving images. Is that it there? Yeah. Save. Oh, is that what it? Hold on. I think that's what happened. Yeah, hold on. All right, yeah, it's been doing this thing where it's like it's saving images as web page instead of like an image, and I don't really understand it. There we go. Don't cancel. The show must go on. Cancel everything. Yeah, sorry about that. Now it's a podcast. We'll go into like solid images. Yeah, I had to add it to. The way I do it is I have a scene called topic images, and I change the images as the show demands, and then that way I have buttons that I can hit to change them. All right. That's supposed to be a 3DS. Boy, we are all over the place today, huh? Oh man, it wouldn't be the same if we didn't have a whole bunch of technical problems. There we go. All right. For the 3DS. Yeah, having issue. Neon Mole, no, I forgot to load up a picture for the images, for the topics. Okay. The 3DS. The word is that the 3DS is done. Is that they're discontinuing it or something. What I'm understanding is that the way I've understood it is that Nintendo has announced that there is nothing new coming for the 3DS. I don't know that this says. I don't know if it's been reported that they are no longer manufacturing the systems. I don't know that they said that there is nothing ever happening for the future ever again, or if it's just nothing for the immediate future. But what it looks like is that the 3DS is finally going away, and or they're going to stop producing things for it. This has been a little while coming. This is something that if you follow us here, if you guys you've been back and forth here, you all have been here for a while. You know that I think that the 3DS should have started dying a little while ago. It makes sense that it didn't, though. It makes sense that it did not, because there are so many 3DSs out there. That's such a large install base. It is a product and an area that still has a function. Them being cheaper, they're doing like the 2DS now, which are $99.99. They are still fantastic to market to kids, especially the 2DS, because they removed that 3D stuff, which is not fantastic. I have almost never used the 3DS other than to see the 3D, other than to see kind of what it looks like. Um, the 3DS obviously was a successor to the DS, which had the 3D feature built in. It was a very interesting system. Yeah, it's been a long run. I think it was 8 years. I think we're on 8 years now. Yeah, they haven't discontinued yet, but they will be very soon. Yeah, they've announced that there's nothing new coming for the 3DS, but they haven't announced that nothing ever will come for the 3DS. But it's safe to assume that even if something is going to eventually happen more with the 3DS, it's not going to be much. There's not going to be a 3DS Direct. They're not going to revamp the line or anything like that. It's still great though. There's still going to be third-party games for it for a little while. It's still a fantastic system. It's still, like I said, it provides a service which is a first game system for a lot of smaller kids and a lot of people who maybe haven't bit the bullet and gone over to the Switch yet. You know, they're even 2 years into the Switch's life. There's still going to be people who are holding out, who are waiting to. Maybe the system doesn't have what they're looking for yet. Maybe it doesn't have enough of what they're looking for. Maybe the price point is still a little too high, you know. I think that since the Switch has a handheld mode, they might not make it. Rami, I don't think they'll make a new handheld. I don't think that they'll do anything like that. Just because it is still quicker. It would be easier for them to make a Switch Mini and use that as the replacement for the 3DS, because they have argued before that the Switch is not a replacement for the 3DS. I would argue that the Switch is not a replacement for the 3DS in its current form. But if you do make a smaller version that is purposely permanently portable, that's a lot of P's. That would be the replacement for the 3DS. But then you would have the same library to take with you on the go that you have for a system that might play at home. Oh, why can't my Switch play 3DS games? Sean, I still like that idea. I still like the idea of some sort of adapter to play 3DS games and you have to play them sideways. My argument there is that Nintendo themselves have yet to make a grip specifically to hold the Switch vertically. There is one out there. I forget what it's called. There is a third party that makes one. I know they did a Kickstarter for it, and it's a fantastic grip. It looks like a controller grip, but then you put the Switch in it, and the Switch stays up vertically. It's gorgeous. If somebody could find a name for me, yeah, it's fantastic looking. But without Nintendo officially releasing something like that, they're not going to market that kind of functionality. Personal portable Switch, or better known as the PPs. Still happy that Rune Factory 4 is being ported to Switch and that Rune Factory 5 is being made for it. That doesn't, the 2DS doesn't make sense since the Switch launch. Oh, but seeing as how the Switch is also portable, does the 3DS really need a replacement? Yeah, no, it may need. See, no, the Switch needs a more portable, because let's be clear about something here. The Switch is portable. The Switch can be taken out of your system and taken places, but it is not necessarily a handheld. It is not something that is convenient to take with you. The 3DS, I should have my 3DS here. The 3DS is convenient to take with you. It's small. It's very compact. When it folds closed, it protects itself, so it's easy to stick in your pocket. The 2DS was not the most compact piece of technology, but the 3DS always was. Even the new 3DS, because of the way it folds up and everything, it is a very compact thing. The Switch is effectively an Atari Lynx. It's portable, but is it really a handheld? Haunted Bone, what's going on? Jeffersonia, what's happening? What about the stylus? Does that translate into finger dragging? some companies have said they will focus on the portable side of the Switch, like Pokemon Sword and Shield is being worked for portability more than for dock. Yeah, and Lilac, I think that is one of the biggest arguments to say that there is an all portable Switch coming. Because if there is a Switch Mini coming, that's what it's going to be. I honestly believe it's going to be all portable. What I missed, Jefferson, we're talking about the end of the 3DS. I kept my 3DS in the breast pocket of my jacket. I don't like how big the Switch is, but the controller's attached. And Sean, and then if you don't attach the controller, because I don't attach the controllers to mine. My Joy-Con started breaking. So I have a case for my Switch, but it's just the screen, and then I bring my Pro Controller with me. Because the Pro Controller has like 70 hours of battery life for some crazy number. So it's fine. I plug in my Switch, my Pro Controller maybe once a week to charge it to the top, and then that's it. It's done. But it's not necessarily handheld. It's not, you don't stick it in your pocket and go. You can do that if you make the system a little bit smaller. You make it so that the Joy-Con do not detach from the system, but you could still plug up a Pro Controller if you want. My Pro Controller is set to arrive today. Sean, your whole Switch world is about to change. I am grateful. My sister picked me up a Switch controller, a Pro Controller, when it was on sale. Oh my God, your whole life is about to change with that thing. The Switch itself isn't that big when the Joy-Con are connected, but playing games that way would mean having to use touch controls, and not a lot of games work very well with it. Yeah. Well, no. Excuse me. There are mock-ups of a smaller version of the Switch with the Joy-Con attached that actually look relatively playable. Put it this way, if you could play the 3DS, you could play the Switch Mini mock-ups that I've seen. Sorry, when the Joy-Cons aren't connected. Okay. Yeah, you're right. When the Joy-Cons aren't connected. Yeah, because I played Pokemon Quest with just the tablet, and it wasn't bad, but it's still, you still feel a little nervous about it, and part of it is that it's a $300 system. To get a Switch and everything necessary, how much? Jefferson, what do you mean by everything necessary? Because all you need is the Switch. When you buy a Switch, it comes with the Joy-Con and everything you need to hook it up. It comes with the Joy-Con, the dock, and all the wires, the power, and the HDMI. So all you need other than that is games, and you don't even need to physically buy games. You can download them. I used the Amazon gift card I got for Christmas to get my Pro Controller. It's so great. But yeah, I bought my Switch 2 months ago with 2 games, and the case cost me about $450. Not awful. Yeah, but back to 3DS. I actually have I think I've told you this before. I actually have a very positive, fond memory of my 3DS. I didn't get a 3DS when it first came out. I was sort of a lingerer. I was sort of away from the 2DS at that point, so it wasn't really that much of a big deal to me to not have it. There wasn't anything on the system that I absolutely needed that I had to run out and get a 3DS for, especially since I really couldn't afford one at the time. I was at home. It was my birthday, and I was sitting at home, and I get a phone call, I got a phone call, and it was my buddy Pedro, and actually, no, I'm sorry, he showed up to the house. He called earlier and asked me if I was going to be there. I said yeah. I said okay. Hey Lizard. So I said okay. So he said all right. So he was going to stop by. I figured he was going to stop by and say hi. I figured he was probably in the area or something. So he pulls up, and he pulls up in front of my driveway. Doesn't even park. Like, he can't stay. So I was like, hey man, what's going on? He goes, here, happy birthday. And he gave me my 3DS, which is the 3DS I have today, which is actually, that's not the one in the picture, but it is that exact model and color. And Animal Crossing New Leaf, because he knew I was a giant Animal Crossing fan. And he was there all of maybe 2 minutes. And it was hilarious because he left. I was like, oh, thanks. So he left, and I came in, and Beth said, hey, what's going on? And he gave me 3DS and Animal Crossing. And then I started playing Animal Crossing, and that obsession started there. And God, I have hundreds of hours in that Animal Crossing. Almost forgot to mention in regards to touch controls, you would have to do that anyway when flying on a plane because of how the Switch needs. Something I hope they can do something about. Okay. Actually, I just had an idea. Someone earlier mentioned porting 3DS games over to the Switch. They did that in order to make 3DS games easier to play. They made a stylus for the Switch. I would imagine that if they made some sort of kit for physical 3DS games, that it would come with a stylus. I think that would be cool. I think styluses, I think they're relatively easy to come across. I think some people got tired because Nintendo kept the 3DS alive after the Switch came out. I think they didn't want to risk another Wii. I definitely think that they kept the 3DS around a lot longer just because they were worried about the Switch at first, and then once the Switch took off, they knew they could phase it out. But I do think that part of it is that the Switch, because of its size, is not the viable replacement for the handheld unit. That's why I say when they were talking about it when it first came out, the Switch is a portable system. It is not in that regard a handheld system. It is not the kind of system that you stick in your pocket and you go and you're on the go. If you're going to bring it with you, you have to have something to bring it with you. So there's a difference between those two form factors. You can get a random Switch compatible stylus on a random pen. Okay, so let me ask you something. So you guys are more familiar. You seem more familiar with that stuff than I am, because I'm not too familiar with that stuff. Stylus. What is it with stylus that it doesn't all exactly work, right? I can't just use a pen. Like, I can't just use the plastic from a pen. It's got to be rubber or something, or there's got to be some sort of conductivity to it or something. Like that, you know how when you try and use a touchscreen, you can't. It's not just pressure. You can't use it with gloves on, for instance. You would have to have skin contact, or there's like some sort of connectivity or conductivity or something. I almost felt like passing out last night. Was about Lizard. Lay down, get some rest. That's why Lizard. You know I love having you here, but at the same time that getting rested is much more important. And I'm sorry that your night sucked. That definitely is unfortunate. I know the stuff that you're going through, but yeah, get some rest, man. Take some time. 3DS gave me a lot of good memories. Yeah, what are some memories of your 3DS games? Give me a lot of good memories between DQ games I wouldn't have played otherwise. Link Between Worlds. Oh my god, Link Between Worlds. And a better Ocarina of Time. The system did its job. Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't play the Ocarina of Time. Not on there. I played it on 64. I have an iPad stylus that works on mine. Tablet stylus only work with tablets and really nothing else. You can't just use like plastic. Like if I took a pen and took the actual ink part out and just had a plastic stick, that doesn't work as a stylus. You have to have something that has conductivity to it or something like that. I know for some of them, like my tablet is like that, but then my phone is not as bad. I don't know how it works. Those pens with the squishy balls on the end. Capacitive screens. That's what it is. It's the screen. Capacitive screens like your phone and the Switch need those. Older touchscreens can use any plastic things and stuff. Okay, so that's what it is. It's a capacitive screen. So it's not the stylus that you're using. It's the screen itself. The fact that I can play all of my DS games too. Yeah, that's the thing. Backwards compatibility will always be one of the best features you can add to your system, because you can go out and buy the system, and until you buy more games for the system, you can still play all your other stuff. It's always one of the best features there is. Star Fox 3D got it day one. That is the remake of the 64 version, right? Biggest memory I have with the 3DS is personal, but I hold it close to my heart. Do you want to know about? I mean, not if it's personal. I don't want you to say any personal information, or sometimes we keep some memories for ourselves, and that's okay. That's okay. America's ass taught me that one, and I won't explain that. If you know what it means, then you know what it means. In my opinion about that, at the time the Switch debuted, it was better for Nintendo to still have the 3DS in case the Switch didn't turn out as they hoped. Since it did, the 3DS can be retired quietly. Kind of similar to how the Game Boy Advance was when the DS launched. See, the thing about the DS launching is that it still played Game Boy Advance games, so it at least had something there with it. Yeah, right. If you want to share, you're more welcome to share. I'm not gonna stop you from sharing. I bought the 3DS. I bought the Smash 3DS to play Smash. Oh, okay, never had it before then. I remember the rage fits folks had over the new 3DS on Twitter. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the new 3DS. My biggest problem with the new 3DS is that I have an argument that once you make games specifically for it, it stops being an upgraded version of the system and becomes a new system. You know, if you had the PlayStation 4 X and you said, "Oh, it's just an upgraded PlayStation 4." Oh, the PlayStation 4 Pro. If you made games that only work on the PlayStation 4 Pro, is it really an upgrade or is it a whole new system with backwards compatibility? You know, it's sort of a weird kind of gray area, because if you make games specifically for it, it's kind of a different system. Fire Emblem Awakening, Ocarina, Kid Icarus, Pokemon, lots of Pokemon, Rune Factory 4, Dragon Quest, Bravely Default, and Star Fox. Yeah, good stuff. My 3DS collection is actually very limited, but I did play some great stuff. I think one of my favorite memories is when Smash was coming out. I had the demo for it. I went to a convention and I was playing the demo, and I'm standing in line, and the people in front of me, like, they could hear it. And at one point, the guy turns around and he goes, "I'm sorry, are you playing Smash?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Can I try it?" So I was standing in line, and there's this guy, this person I never met, and I handed him over my 3DS, and it's him, and then I let his friend try it out, and they were just loving it, and it was just, I don't know, it was such a great memory. I mean, street passing people at MagFest. I was checking my street pass constantly. Hey, Mr. Sonic. I bought the new 3DS when they made the Samus Returns. That's my biggest problem with stuff like that. I hate when they make all of these cool special systems because you already have the system. So there's no point in you buying. I don't have money to go out and, hey, look, that system has Metroid on it. Got to go buy that one too. That's another $200. Like, I can't do that. And it's a shame because I want that. There was no Galaxy. It was either a Galaxy. I don't know if it was the new 3DS. It might have just been the 3DS XL. Oh, it was so awesome looking. That's why, Ryan, I'm gonna leave that at your discretion. I remember losing my mind when Majora's Mask 3D was. I still haven't played that game. That's a new 3DS game. Yeah, so I can't actually play that game. Also, my favorite memory for the 3DS comes back from when I got my first. For when I first got it, my friend let me borrow this copy of Street Fighter 4, and I loved it. 3DS, where I got back into Pokemon with X and Y. First played Fire Emblem game on the system. Also, where I was first introduced to the Persona series. Okay. I do remember the times when I would spend time with me passes. Oh God. However, I feel that I've not fully experienced the library. Yeah, Aqua. This might be. We're closing in on a good time to get into 3DS collecting. Give it a couple of years, and 3DS collecting might be very viable. I still remember to this day how Nintendo handled the 3DS not selling well at first. Yeah, well, wasn't there? What is when the 3DS first came out, it didn't sell very well, and then they introduced some sort of ambassador program where it was either black or red 3DSs, and they had Super Nintendo games on them. And apparently, you can have one of those systems that still has those games on it. Unqualified gamer who comes in here from time to time. I think he has one. I think he has an Ambassador 3DS. I was so happy when SNES games came to the new 3DS. I was really hoping for Star Fox to get added. You got 8 exclusive games. Yeah, that was it. Does anybody remember what the exclusive games were? I think Link to the Past was one of them. I don't know that Super Metroid was one of them. That would be kind of cool to have. Would you feel better singing? Yeah, if you feel bad, if you feel weird about it, I mean, maybe if you want to post it in Discord or something. Yoshi? They came out with Metal. Did they? They didn't come. Did they come out with a Metal Gear game? Oh my god, Metro Fusion, Earthbound was one. Oh wow. Minish Cap. Minish Cap is the one that I remember hearing that was on there, and I thought was awesome. Oh man, that would be so great to have something like that again. So basically, don't give me crap about not being able to put Super Nintendo games on the system. Nintendo Online. I think at some point we need to have a discussion about Nintendo Online and the fact that it's, I don't know, it's Nintendo Online is not great. What's Minish Cap? Outrage! Do I have an outrage button? No. Oh, actually, no. You know what? When you ask what Minish Cap is,
why do you say things that you know will hurt me?
Yeah, there we go. That's more accurate. eShop, not wagon. E-wagon? Yeah, for people who had that's it. Yeah, the Agent Fox was talking about that. The exclusivity thing was that the new 3DS, that the new 3DS had is something I would be pissed off about. Okay, if they do it for the Switch Pro. Yeah, I don't like it. If your system has exclusive games for it, it's a new system. It's a new system with backwards compatibility. For any retro collectors, the Super Graphics is supposed to be like a new system that also played TurboGrafx games, and there were only 5 games for the Super Graphics. Never play most Zelda games. Got bored of Majora's Mask on the 3DS. Still haven't opened. Breath of the Wild is good. Breath of the Wild is good, but I'm going to tell you this, Lilac. It might get boring. There is a very empty world out there for Breath of the Wild. What I did for Breath of the Wild, the way I played it was the first thing I did was I traveled as far as I could and opened all of the towers so that I could warp back and forth. Then I really started doing the storyline. First game I'm grabbing if I ever get a 3DS is Ocarina of Time 3D. Rocketberry, you don't have to apologize. Yeah, I want to get the Ocarina. I keep seeing that it's on sale for $20 sometimes. So I do want to get that at some point. Wario Land 4 I think was also in there. Okay. Yeah, it was a fantastic system, and I would say that it is still a fantastic system. I think part of why I fell off of the system was that I never got one of the other ones. I never got a Switch. I never got a 3DS XL. So the small screen. You better be sorry. Greg demands your full attention. Yes, because we demand only perfection here.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Yeah, I never switched over to the XL. So the small screen eventually, I kind of, my tolerance for it kind of went away. I definitely never went over to the new 3DS. I would like to have a new 3DS just to see if I can get back into some game. I started playing Dragon Quest 4. And I was enjoying it, but I was kind of fighting through the small screen issues. So I would like to get a new 3DS so that I can go back and play some games that I missed. Around summertime 2013, when I was in college, I completely stopped taking my meds. Sent me to intense anxiety and psychosis that I had to leave college for a bit. After tearful heart-wrenching therapist appointment, Mom immediately took me to the GameStop to buy New Leaf. 3DS and New Moon. New Moon I'm not familiar with. It keeps moving. Every time I had bad moments, Mom would tell me to whip out my new Leaf. To this day, my 3DS out of all the game systems I own helped me during stormy weather. It is Animal Crossing is just so great for that. Animal Crossing is such a relaxing experience. That it's very good for that. Yeah, the most recent price listing for Ocarina of Time is $20, and you know me, I gotta have it physical. I think the best game I got on my 3DS was Senran Kagura Burst. Oh boy. Fun fact: all the games and the digital certificate are linked to your Nintendo account. That's what let me re-download them to my new 3DS XL. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool then. Nintendo needs to drop the yeah. Nintendo does need to drop the prices. They need to at least drop the prices on the system so I can get myself a new 3DS. Let's see, gameplay of it look great, but like it should be an MMO game. Yeah, it's DB. It's just a big empty world. There's not nearly enough stuff in the world. But when you get to the things that was why I opened up all of the towers so that I could avoid the empty world and warp back and forth when I needed to. New Leaf was what led me to replace my old 3DS. Old one started dying in Pokemon X Limited Edition. Oh yeah, that's what those limited editions are good for. When you got to get a new system or you want to upgrade, and you've got more choices to upgrade. I think Ocarina 3D is permanently $20 now because it's a Nintendo Select, so it's going to be $20. But yeah, it was such a great system. It is always sad to see the passing of what was a great system, but it is necessary, and it's definitely about time. It's definitely time to switch over to and here's the thing. It's not an issue of it's not an issue of they're draining resources that could be used on the Switch to make 3DS stuff. Because, we got a couple of 3DS games maybe this year, if that. Are we waiting for Luigi's Mansion or something? They're not losing resources by focusing on the 3DS. It's just, I think it's time. I think it's time for it to be put to sleep and very, very peacefully. And it has earned it. The 3DS has earned its rest. If you're ever thinking about playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Portlock, I know of it. I never bought it. I have the GameCube one. I wouldn't mind picking it up for the Wii U. Truth be told, at this point, the Wii U just kind of sits there. I would really rather have it for the Switch. I know that a lot of people were arguing about ports being on the Switch from the Wii U, but you know what? The Wii U had some fantastic things on it, and just not a lot of support for the system. I think it's totally fine to start bringing some of that stuff over to the Switch, and Wind Waker should be one of them. That sounded like the 3DS has earned its arrest. It has earned its arrest. See, so Mario said it. Xenoblade on a 3DS is a technical marvel. See, yeah, I need to get a new 3DS, and I know the smaller one has the changeable faceplates like you mentioned, but I want the bigger screen. That's my problem, is that I'm at a point where the smaller screen just doesn't do it for me anymore. But yeah, 3DS, we love you. It has been a wild ride with you. We have enjoyed so much of your company. I'm speaking to anybody who has ridden a bus or a train or a trolley, anybody who has had to sit there for jury duty, anybody who's had to sit there for getting your driver's license, any long waits, any boring downtime. The 3DS was there for us, so we love you, 3DS. What is it? You go into that sweet night. I think that's what it's called. And hopefully the Switch is already clearly doing a fantastic job. Hopefully they come up with something a little bit smaller just to sort of fill that void of a small handheld system, because at this point the Switch is not a handheld system. But yeah, it's at this point, I think it's safe to say the 3DS has earned its place in the Video Game Hall of Fame. But now, to switch topics, Bloodstained. Let's talk about Bloodstained. For anybody that has not seen, they put out a Bloodstained trailer. They finally announced a release date and they put out a trailer for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. They redid all of the graphics. They enhanced everything. They redrew everything, or whatever the heck it is they had to do. They have overhauled the game. If you watch the trailer, in the trailer, it starts with the original version of the game, and they're showing little excerpts and little comments from people who think that the visuals just look bland. The character animations just look kind of so-so. Everything is visually unappealing. It's very, very interesting that they were showing all that, and they're all popping up. And then they flip over to this new version, which is hilarious, by the way, because was that Igarashi that's in the trailer. Basically, they mimicked the opening of Symphony of the Night, because he's sitting in the trailer and he's drinking something, and he throws the glass down and he says like something like, "We're gonna do it better," and then it switches over, and then the rest of the trailer is a back and forth where you see the old version of the graphics and the new version of the graphics, and they overhauled all of it. They redid all of it based on what fans were saying, which is very relevant to another topic we're going to talk about later. It looks amazing, and it's It's June 18th for everything else except the Switch, and then June 25th for the Switch. Which is unfortunate because I would like to have it on the Switch. But I did see some stuff about the Switch version running at a lower frame rate. I think somebody said here that it ran hot at the demo. So I'm curious to see how well it functions. I would rather have it on the Switch for the portability. It's a 1 week release difference. What are these criticisms? A miserable little pile of complaints. Have at you. Okay, we'll do what you said. Yeah, because he doesn't say "have at you." He says, "Okay, I'm doing what you're saying." I'm excited to get my Switch copy. It's physical, right? There is going to be a physical copy for this game. It's not going to be like digital first and then physical later. There is a physical copy for this. Gotta love how Japanese game devs are so... Yeah, you gotta love the campiness. Also hating things because of the hype. Bruh. Switch version is coming out a week. Yeah, it's a week later. It's just a week later. Like I said, the 18th, June 18th for everything else. June 25th, which is a week later for the Switch version. A couple days ago, I got Jack and Daxter collection for $10 off the PlayStation Store. It's good. I think I have a Jack and Daxter collection somewhere. You get a physical too. At least UK you can. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to get a physical here. I think I'm gonna wait to see what the Switch version looks like against the PS4 version. I don't mind if it runs a little less smooth, as long as I can take it with me on the go. If the handheld version runs perfectly smooth, I'll be very happy. I don't like how these people were so harsh on the demo. Yeah. Well, did they seriously think that the demo was No, you know what, Sean? I never noticed anybody being very harsh for the demo. In the trailer that we got, the kinds of comments that I saw in the beginning were kind of what I saw a lot of. I saw a lot, not like raging out, not. Put it this way, I never saw somebody look at Ritual of the Night in the comments and say, "Oh, here we go, another Mighty Number 9." But a lot of what I saw was, I felt that it would be more atmospheric. I felt that it would be more vibrant, or more engaging. Like, they just were not happy with the way that it looked. It just felt bland, given what they were expecting. And people keep chewing me in when I say I don't care about Castlevania. Bloodstained and classic Castlevania collection will make a nice summer. Metroidvania collection would be, oh my god, just a Metroid collection would be amazing. Just warning for anyone interested in playing Jak and Daxter for an insane amount of difficulty in Jak 2. Excuse me. But yeah, if you get a chance, look at it. It's very awesome. We've talked before about the idea of developers being able to put up these things, put up videos, put up demos, get instant feedback that they're able to use to make the game better. And I think that that's something that needs to be done more and more. And I like that it's done more and more. That being said, be careful of how much power you give to the people. Don't let them force things in a certain direction if it's not what you want to do. Make sure to distinguish between what the fans want and that would work for everybody, and what the fans specifically want that would really just cater to a small subsection of people. If it's beta version, that looks like high quality garbage, I could see, but Essentials, Alpha version, and that's the thing. I think they did announce, and you see that with demos. They did it with the Daemon Ex Machina demo. When they put the demo out, they blatantly said, "This is a development demo. We want your input to see what to change." Yeah, let the fans know you hear them, but don't let them dictate to you what to do. Kind of in a negative culture right now. Yeah, we really are. Which is, DB is actually something I want to discuss. I talked about this yesterday, but we're going to talk about it today just because, we've got the platform to do so. Yay. But yeah, I like that we are seeing that happen. I like that we as the consumer, it used to be that we spoke with our money. If we saw something that a developer was doing that we didn't like, we were able to speak with our money. We were able to say, I'm not going to buy it. And when they see why the sales are so bad, maybe they'll ask us why, and we can tell them. Now we have more of a voice. Now we have a direct voice. That's garbage. It's classy. What? It's French, so it's classy. Listen, that butt end of the baguette is still trash. Where no matter what country you're in. So it's nice to know that we have a voice. It's nice to know that we have a voice that actually makes a difference. And when you see this trailer, you see a very positive change, a very, very positive version of what we do with it. Because like I said, I did see some complaining about the demo. What I didn't see was a lot of raging out. I'm sure it was there. But I didn't see any raging out. I didn't see any, here goes Mighty Number 9. Here goes somebody stealing my money. It'll be 10 years before it comes out, and it'll be hot garbage, as DB Stewart wants me to say. But we got to see what is clearly a positive change, because like I said, when you see the actual trailer, you see that it is a positive change. Now, let's talk about a negative version of all of this. The Sonic trailer came out. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer came out. I can't say mixed reception, because the overwhelming reception is that the character model looks terrible. The character model looks horrible. That is the overwhelming reception. I wouldn't say that the character model, and this is I'm gonna have a lot. I'm gonna warn you right now. I'm gonna have a lot of hot takes. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that I'm gonna say that's gonna probably piss people off, and I don't care. I don't think the character model looks completely awful. I don't think it looks very indicative of Sonic. I think that it is a departure, and I think that they definitely took a lot of liberties that they should not have taken. But it's not like he looks like a pile of trash just on his own. He just looks like a pile of trash up against an actual Sonic model. which is fine. 4 resets to get chat working. Good Lord. Agent Fox, there are more issues with this movie than just this. Okay, then Agent Fox, maybe you need to tell the internet that, because they can't focus on anything else except that. I haven't heard any complaints about the rest of the cast. I haven't heard any complaints about cinematography or them worrying about what the script is going to be. I haven't heard anything beyond, I hate this character model. I haven't, not once did I hear anything other than the character model looks terrible. If you told a 10-year-old me that realistic Sonic with Jim Carrey as Eggman, yeah, the Gangster's Paradise is such, what an odd choice. It starts to feel, it feels like to me that everyone is talking about this, even people I was not expecting to talk about. Okay, Aqua, I am talking about this, because I have another issue with it. This is, I don't know if you were here yesterday, but we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I have a bigger issue with this than just Sonic, because I am not the longest term Sonic fan. I loved Sonic on the Genesis. I have not played any of the 3D games, so I am not this, and I played Sonic Mania. I'm not this overwhelming Sonic fan, so I don't have that kind of take. I have a different issue with what's going on, and not with the movie, but with the stuff around it that's going on. I just see this movie as an attempt to lure the casuals. In other words, no gamers in the fan. Well, one of the biggest arguments, Minish, is that it's for kids. That's always a big argument. See, there's a lot to unpack with this, with everything that I have a problem with here. Gangster's Paradise is good though. Jim Carrey is apparently the best part, and that's one thing. That's one thing that at the end of all of this, whatever movie happens to come out, whatever ends up from all of this, people who love it and people who hate it are going to say the same thing, that Jim Carrey was the best part of this movie. Kids don't deserve the scar. Okay, that's what I want to address, Rye. I want to address the idea that defending this movie because it's for kids. That is not a totally incorrect way to look at this. Yes, kids deserve a better class of media. You don't get to put trash on the screen and say, oh, but it's for kids, so it's fine. You don't get to do that. You get to make good cartoons. You get to make good animation, 3D animation, even live action stuff. It has to be decent quality for kids, because that's important. It's decent quality media sparks kids' imaginations. It helps them in other ways. You know, cartoons and TV shows and sci-fi and all of that stuff did wonders for me as a kid, because it gave me the ability to expand my horizon, literally, by seeing other horizons. That's why I love sci-fi so much. I like the idea of visualizing other worlds. It made me want to draw things. It made me want to write things. So it's important to have good quality media to give to your kids. But it's also important to understand that what kids want out of their media is different than what we want out of our media. I said before about the fact that everybody is talking about the character model and nobody's talking about anything else. I have yet to see any legitimate large-scale arguments about other issues that they're having. Being upset that, what's his name, James Marsden? Marsden? Is that him? Cyclops? Seeing that he's in the movie. Seeing that Jim Carrey's in the movie. I haven't seen any of that. All I've seen is arguments about the Sonic the Hedgehog character model. Kids, for the most part, don't care about that. Kids are going to be entertained because they're going to see a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They are going to enjoy the funny jokes. The jokes are probably going to be very funny in the movie. Jim Carrey is going to be fantastic no matter what he does. Often forget that kids are smarter than we think they are. They notice the things that adults often miss. Kids have different requirements for what they enjoy out of things. How about this? I'm going to ask you this right now, and I'm going to prove it to you. I want you to think about something you enjoyed as a kid, a TV show or a movie or something that you look at now and think, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. The special effects are horrible. The story is dumb. The whole premise is insane. You liked it because, Hell Hydrate. You liked it because as a kid, you didn't need all of that. First of all, you didn't scrutinize everything as a child. You saw a Sonic the Hedgehog movie and said, ooh, Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Anybody who's in my age group know you flock to the theater to go and see the Super Mario Brothers movie. And as far as a representation of Super Mario Brothers, it was god awful. It was a fun movie. It was silly. It was goofy. But as a representation of the Super Mario Brothers, it was awful. Do you really want me to hold a knife? Yes, I do. Lizard, I want you to hold a knife to your nostalgia. I want everybody to hold a knife to their nostalgia. It's just to prove that what you liked as a kid was probably bad, but you liked it anyway. And your like for that drove you in some way or another towards more media like that. Kids are different than what they require out of their media. Kids are not looking at it and saying, what is that? When we first talked about the character model, we talked about it here on stream. And I remember saying that, yes, it does not look like the Sonic that we're used to. The skinny legs and the head that's as large as the rest of his body, the unit eye. It doesn't have all of that stuff. But it is still recognizable as Sonic the Hedgehog. If you looked at that and nobody told you what was going on, you would say, oh my God, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. There's no question of that. Nobody can deny that. That's what kids are looking for. That's all they're looking for when they see that. I was Doug Rocco's reaction to Shirley said that because the writing feels more like Hop than Sonic. Oh, okay. It's just that negative culture we live in. People like to hop on flaws, and everybody just adds on. She seems to kind of soar without knowing what's going into it. Yeah, absolutely, DB. Kids' check marks are different. Yeah, they're different than adults. He's blue. He's fast. Does he act like Sonic? They'll recognize him as Sonic. And I've been holding a knife to my nostalgia for a long time now. And here's another problem that I have, and this is where geek culture. I'm going to call you hypocrites for this. I'm going to call you a hypocrite for this, and I'm going to be very harsh. This is why I said there's going to be a lot of hot takes before this. When we look at retro video games, when we look at video games, just in general, there are games out there that are very popular, and the graphics are just not as good as some of the other games out there. And what do we always say? What do video gamers and people in all those media always say? You don't judge it just by the way it looks. It's the gameplay. It's the humor. It's all of that stuff. It's not all about the visuals. How long have we been saying that it's not all about graphics for video games? So why, when this trailer comes along, and this is what always happens, the trailer comes along, everybody immediately judges it by the image. They automatically judge it by the way it looks. You never even gave it a chance to see what the humor was like, what the other characters were like, what even the character was like. For all you know, you may love the character, you just don't really like the way he looks. But for some reason, movies are a completely different thing. If one aspect of it visually looks bad, the whole it's over. The whole thing was a mistake. That bothers me to no end. It really annoys me. Like, maybe you should have waited to see a little bit more. If you had concerns, then you have some concerns. You know, I kind of wish he was this. I kind of wish he was that. But to just go out on a rampage about all of this stuff, to go out on a rampage that is unwarranted because half of the people that I saw complaining about this stuff admitted that they were going to go see the movie anyway. So what the hell are you complaining for? Complain after you see it. Complain after you see it and then say, okay, I watched it. It was very funny. It was very humorous. It was fantastic. It just, the character looks like trash. For as much as you bring up people harping on that model, there's a whole trailer that people got to see and judge. It's just but that's just hot goggles. I'm not. If the model is the worst aspect of it, that means that there are problems with the rest of it, and that's exactly my issue, is that they are focusing on this one thing. I'm not hearing arguments about any other aspect of it. They're literally just looking at the Sonic model, which is arguably the biggest aspect of the movie. So I'm not saying that it's not completely true, that it's not completely warranted, but I don't know. I feel like people are just going off on it. And I think part of that, in all honesty, let's be honest, because it's Sonic the Hedgehog, so you have to go off on everything that comes out for Sonic the Hedgehog. Beast Wars was my ridiculous looking kids show, but the characters and story were strong enough to move me to tears. Rest in peace, Dinobot. We as gamers are spoiled with what the gaming industry gives out, and the power of the internet grants more bitching. Negativity bias. Okay. Sonic is one of the loudest, most vocal, most toxically obnoxious fandom. Yeah, it is crossing over to that toxic area. That is, and I saw somebody today say that just because you don't like something, it doesn't make you toxic. But I'm seeing a lot of toxic behavior coming out of this. Doesn't mean you can just make whatever poorly made crap you want and expect the kids. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. You're right, Niamo. It's not easy to do, but it's possible. It's not like it's impossible either. I'm holding my breath on the changing sound. Yeah. So to continue on, my thing is that she's real. To continue on, they announced that. By the way, Eggman looks fantastic in that movie. So I liked Eggman. He looks hilarious. It looks like Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. And then the final shot of Eggman, I think is perfect. I think it is a great representation of Eggman. So to move on, they announced on Twitter, there was a Jeff Fowler, I think was the account, said that the studio has announced that they're going to make changes to the character model. This is all going to turn into a dumpster fire. This is turning into a dumpster fire in front of our eyes. Not just this whole Sonic situation, but this whole show right here, because I'm going to throw out a few concepts and ideas that are going to have people running in a bunch of different directions. They announced that they're going to change the model, that they heard the fans, and that they're going to change the model. So the big concern now is it going to be crunch? Are they going to force people to work overtime in order to change this? Are they going to push back the release date to the movie? I don't know. I mean, we obviously don't know any of that. Truth be told, I think there was still some speculation about whether or not that account was legit. That account was started in 2013, the Jeff Fowler account, and it is followed by some people that are tied to the development of the movie, so it does look legit. As far as that, it would be a little better if Paramount would actually say that they're going to do some redesigns. And we would like to have a time frame on the redesigns as far as whether or not it's going to push the movie. Like I don't need a report every 24 hours telling me how the progress is going, but we just want to know if they're going to move the movie back or anything. There has been speculation that all of this is manufactured. I think Jim Sterling did a long tweet about how it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous concept that that they would have put all of this production in, and that they would have made this trailer, and that they would have made all these promotional items and posters and stuff, and all for it to be fake. As a mild conspiracy theorist, I don't think that that's totally unrealistic. I don't think that it's true. But I think there is some potential to that. For the last 10 years at least, one of the running gags with Sonic one of the running gags in the Sonic community has been that Sonic is awful. Bad video games, more than 10 years. Bad video games, no discernible hope other than Sonic Mania. Every time a game comes out, everybody just scrutinizes it for what's wrong. And then it's funny because when you give it enough time, people actually do like certain things. You know, the Sonic Boom cartoon caught a lot of flack, and it's actually really funny. It's a very, very humorous show. So it seems that somebody knows how to do Sonic well enough. It seems like the ultimate publicity stunt, an ultimate marketing stunt to say, we make this movie, we use a decent Sonic model, the one from the Progressive commercial, we do everything right, but how do we promote it? Here's how you promote it. You take the trailer and you put in a crappy Sonic model. You make crappy Sonic model posters. You make crappy Sonic model materials. You get it all out there. You put the trailer and you say, oh, we've heard you. You think that it's awful. We're going to change it just for you all. You actually don't have to do any of the changing work because secretly you've had a different character model in the works the entire time. The whole movie has been made with this newer, better, with this other better character model. It generates hype. It generates talk. It generates conversation. You don't have to do all of the print models over again. Not a whole lot of them anyway. And you get word of mouth. You get word of mouth like you've never seen it before. Because now even people outside of the Sonic the Hedgehog community are talking about how there was this awful thing in the movie and fans made them change it. Fans talk about it because they won. Fans won because that's what fans are looking at right now, aren't they? A lot of fans are looking at it and they're saying that we won. We got them to change this awful thing that we didn't like. That's too much wasted money. Hawk goggles. No, it's not wasted money. And that's exactly the point. That's the whole point of what I'm saying here, is that it's not wasted money because that money was earmarked for advertising and to get the word out about the movie, which is exactly what all of this is doing. There are more people making videos about the Sonic movie, more people tweeting about the Sonic movie than probably ever would have if the movie looked 100% solid. Somebody said it earlier. Somebody actually said earlier in here that they're seeing people who don't even talk about Sonic the Hedgehog making Sonic the Hedgehog videos, making Sonic the Hedgehog tweets. I am not a huge Sonic fan. I'm sitting here talking about it. I've been sitting here talking about it for the last 25 minutes. All of this has created a fervor for what's going on, what's going to happen, that simple advertising never would have done. If we got a decent trailer with a decent looking Sonic model, we would have looked at it and said, oh, the Sonic movie looks like it's going to be pretty good, actually. I'm surprised. And then we would have sat back and we would have waited for the movie to come out. But now there's all of this craziness going on around it. There's all of this insanity. More than any advertising campaign could have ever done. And it's because they know that the Sonic fandom does that. You know, that's what the Sonic fandom does. Sonic almost gets more publicity being bad than being good. And that's been true for a while now. And that's actually true for a lot of things. I say Sonic like it's exclusive to Sonic, and it's really not. The truth is some things get a lot more press when they're bad than when they're good. If it looked good, then people would still talk about it. See, I don't think they would. I don't think that they would. Look at even with the alternative with Detective Pikachu. The special issue with Detective Pikachu is that it's Pokemon, and Pokemon has had dips in relevancy, but in like the last few years, because of Pokemon Go, there's been a resurgence of Pokemon like we haven't seen before. So Pokemon's always going to get a lot of buzz. Same people condemning the Sonic movie are the ones that embraced Uganda Knuckles. Yeah, Lilac, you're absolutely right. Uganda Knuckles was ridiculous, but it became embraced because it was ridiculous. Imagine the producers knowing how bitchy the Sonic fandom was and thinking, The idea of bad publicity is that someone still agrees with you, and no. See, Hawkeye goes, no. But this is my point. This is the whole point. This would be the genius of it if it happened. Because like I said, I still don't believe that this is actually what happened. I'm just bringing it up as a possibility. This is the genius of it because it's not bad publicity anymore. See, it was bad publicity when the movie looked awful. It was bad publicity when this ridiculous character model was going to be the Sonic the Hedgehog that everybody's getting. But now it's going to turn into good publicity because, like I said, now the people who were complaining about it are going to throw their hands up and say that we won because they got them to change it to something better. Even though visibly the character model would change and nothing about the rest of the movie would change. Notice, at no point did they say anything about that they were going to recast anybody or change the script or anything like that. Because none of that stuff has ever been talked about. Oh, read my question about trying to understand. I see you. Yeah, how could all this negativity turn into positive? Yeah, and that's exactly how it is. Because now everybody is looking at it and saying, "All right, we're going to get a good movie." Now, look on Twitter. You can see it on Twitter. You can see it in certain videos. You go to videos where they're talking about the fact that the studio is going to change it. A lot of people are they're slowly turning it into a positive that now they're going to get what they wanted, which is a better looking Sonic the Hedgehog. In the end, it's all advertising. All of this is marketing that they're getting, that they paid for. Assuming that this is what happened, it was genius that they did it awfully. They got everybody talking about it, and now they're fixing it, so everybody's now talking about that. It's just very interesting. Let's be honest. If they changed the character model drastically, all of that Sonic the Hedgehog merch, the posters and everything, with this version of Sonic on it, they're going to be selling. They're going to be selling for hundreds of dollars online because people are going to want promotional items from the bad Sonic because that's what everybody does. It gets people talking. Yeah, again, bad publicity is still publicity. And Lizard, especially when you find a way to turn it into good publicity. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry. I went on a little bit of a rant there, and I skipped a bunch of stuff. Very apt description of marketing in the corporate world today, Greg. People forget that these corporations employ people that study people they study people for a living. They have people whose job it is to sit on social media and see what people are saying about their product. Broken down into segments and demographics, they expected this reaction to Sonic, and it is not unreasonable to think that they manipulated this reaction to Sonic. It is not outside the realm of possibility. Q Ego Raptor, effing geniuses. I feel like Nintendo fans are more complicit with the games they get. They expect a good game. With other studios like Sega, it's about so much more good and bad. We discuss, we debate, argue for sure, but we actively show our passion, and that's what gets people talking about it. Pay no attention to that hedgehog behind the curtain. Silence brand. This ain't a scene, it's a goddamn arm trade. Oh man, that's a good album. For the easiest way to fill seats of a fan base and make them feel like they had a hand. Lilac, 100% exactly agree. If you make the fan, and that's the whole thing with the Bloodstained ritual of the night that we were talking about, when the fan base feels like they had a hand in it, they're going to embrace it even more positively. When they see whatever the new Sonic design is, they're going to look at the new Sonic design and they're going to kind of, not directly, but they're going to look at it and say, man, remember the first one? That was awful. Good thing we complained and now we got this. And they're going to think, they're going to feel like more connected to it because they're going to feel like they were a part of it. Look at Smash Brothers, Smash Ultimate with the characters that are being that got voted in. I know there are anybody who voted for characters that eventually got in are going to look at that and think, oh, I voted for that person. That's great. I love what I saw in the trailer. The Sonic was off-putting. Yeah, but I enjoyed Jim Carrey and some of the action they showed. The child in the bag was hilarious. That was such a great part of that trailer. And I like I said, I love the Eggman design at the end. I don't want to bow down to corporate overlords. I don't want to get lost amidst the shadows. Now I'm thinking of a moment in debunked Matt Pat theory in the 2016 election. If you can control how they feel, you can predict how they'll act. Perfect. Think about it from the company standpoint. If I pay a team millions of dollars in a year or two to know how people think, they better know exactly what's going on. And I think they did. I don't think that all of this outrage is part of some giant scheme, but I don't think for a second that no one realized that there was going to be outrage and it was going to be beneficial for them. I believe wholeheartedly that multiple times people said, "Oh, the fans aren't going to like this." Awesome. Ooh, I got all itchy back there. Yeah, I think the model looks kind of bad. I think it's still recognizable as Sonic. I think the movie still looks like it could be a lot of fun. I think one of the things that I like is that it's just Sonic. I like that they didn't try and force a whole bunch of different characters. So for the second Sonic movie, I better get more characters, and I better get those loop-de-loops from Sonic 2. Yeah, Gabby, you're kind of right. Like, I kind of thought that maybe if it was true, it could be, and this is how it would be. By the end of that, I'm like, I kind of think it's true. I see that. Lilac. I see that. It without getting into the political side of it, it did a good job of sparking outrage in people and then using that outrage to do what he needed to do. Conspiracy theories are fun, but most normal people won't know about the fix. They'll just remember an awful looking Sonic. See, first impressions are mass pop. See, here's the thing though. Hawk Goggles, normal people, which is to say, people outside of the hardcore aspects of the fandom. People who are on the ball when it comes to things like trailers and stuff. No, I don't think that they will. I think that you say they will just remember an awful looking Sonic. No, I think that the hardcore people are the ones that will only remember an awful looking Sonic. I think that regular normal people, the average viewer, we'll say the average viewer. I think the average viewer probably saw this trailer, probably thought, it looks kind of okay. And then when they see it, they're going to say, oh, they changed the way the Sonic looks. Even if they even remember the trailer, I think they're going to say, oh, I think they changed the way Sonic looked. They're still going to go to the movies. They're still going to take their kids to see the movie. And they're still going to watch it. And they're going to think, oh, that was pretty good. It's only the hardcore people who are going to, who for years to come are going to say, yeah, but that first model was terrible. And then someone's going to say, what do you mean first model? And they're going to say, oh, well, originally the model looked different. And then due to fan outrage, they changed it. We see that kind of stuff all the time. Did you know that the original Mario Brothers 2 isn't actually Mario Brothers 2, but was actually a game called Doki Doki Panic? You know why I say that? Because us geeks like to tell people that all the time. Because it is a little piece of history that only hardcore people will know and the common person will not know. So we like to say it. So years down the line, it's only going to be the hardcore fans that watch this stuff the second it comes out and react to it the second it comes out that are going to remember how different the Sonic model looked. Doki Doki Literature Club? Did I say Doki Doki Literature Club? I think I said Doki. I should have said Doki Doki Panic. It was not Literature Club. Literature Club was a slightly different game than Mario 2. With all the anger surrounding characters, I'm surprisingly not hearing much disappointment about the fact they hired a different voice actor to voice Sonic and not Roger Craig Smith. Yeah, Neon Mole. That's another aspect of it. We were talking earlier, that everybody's only talking about the character model. Like, that seems like it should bother people. I can find more videos on YouTube about why something sucks than why something is good. Mind you, I'm a finance guy and I see these things. Imagine how well the marketing geniuses are playing this game. Yeah, the best way to have people dance to your tune is to make them think it's their idea. It's DB. That's con artist logic. That's any con artist will tell you that the way to sucker somebody into a con is to make them think that it was their idea. And it's happening. Later, Dragoon Knight, have a good one. You're surprised there's a drastic change to Sonic's design. I honestly thought they made it bad so people will see it ironically, which was still profitable. Changing it to something less awful doesn't seem it doesn't seem smart. No, John Pancho, it doesn't seem smart to have it start as something good. It seems smart to have it start as something bad, have the fans tell you to change it, and then you change it. Hawk Goggles. I question whether or not people would really care. It's not like recasting Kevin Conroy as Batman, which they have done, and it has not worked out awfully. But let's be honest, if they brought the Batman animated series back as a movie series to the theaters, like they started to make more movies based on that whole aesthetic, I think people would be upset if it wasn't Kevin Conroy. That was my idea. That was an original thought, and I think that all of that's advertising. All of that works. What you're saying is reminding me of how much really hardcore Star Wars fans hated the prequel trilogy because it was more different than they did not like that. I noticed that Sonic sounded different in the trailer. Oh, okay. Yeah, you kind of got used to it. Yeah, people have been hating on this movie since the first was announced. Since the first time they said that it was going to be a live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie, people have been hating on it. So they've made their decision. Alrighty. That was going to lead into something. I've got a little bit of a rant that I want to go on. This is a little bit of a rant that I have before we get to the viewer topics. I did have a little bit of a rant that I want to go on, and it plays into it plays into what we've been talking about. Cloud Strife. It plays into what we've been talking about, and it plays into a bit of the negative culture thing that we were talking about, how people just love hating stuff. And I talked about this yesterday, but I wanted to talk about it again today, just because I do have a little bit of an issue that I want to discuss, and that is, I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being upset. I know that I got all hyped back there about about the Sonic thing, but I think one of the things that made me accept the Sonic trailer more was that I'm just tired of being of hating on everything all the time, and it gets really annoying and it gets really tiresome. And I would love to speak to members of fandoms and ask them the same thing, and ask them if they're tired of it. Just I watched that Sonic trailer and I thought, okay, the character model looks awful. Not even awful, just does not looks like it could be better. I see it, I could clearly see areas to improve on that character model. But I like James. I think it's Marsden. I like James Marsden. I think that he's great. I loved him in a few different movies. I liked him in the X-Men movies. I thought he was great in what the hell movie? Enchanted. Enchanted was a fantastic live action movie where he played like a Prince Charming type character, but he's kind of like an idiot. I like him. I like Jim Carrey. I think that Jim Carrey got a little weird for a while, came back. I think he's got a few personal issues, but as an actor, I think he's fantastic. I think that everybody has agreed that he's going to be the best part of this movie. I love the shot of him at the end when you see him and he looks like the actual Eggman. I had an easier time seeing all of that stuff. And I think part of the reason I had an easier time seeing all of that stuff is just that I'm just tired of focusing on the crappy stuff all the time. I'm tired of looking at a new movie coming out and pointing out everything that's wrong with it. I'm tired of looking at a new game and the first thing I say is, well, the shading is kind of off. You know, the graphics are sort of, you know, like I said with the Sonic trailer, of everybody's focusing on how it looks and not how the movie is. I'm tired of looking at video games and saying, oh, the graphics are terrible. and then not actually giving the game a shot and not realizing that this game's probably freaking awesome. I just, like I said, I this is just something that I wanted to get off my chest, and I hope that you can all agree, and whether or not DB Stewart, of course you can make a suggestion. Take that with you. If you're in that same boat as me, if you're in that same area where you're just so tired of it, you're so exhausted with hating everything and making that your knee-jerk reaction. Your knee-jerk reaction is to just hate what's happening. Just stop. That's the live action animated. Neon Mole. Enchanted. For anybody that didn't see the movie Enchanted was a Disney World animated world where the character Giselle, she is forced out of that world and into a different universe. It is our real life universe. So she pops up here, but then I don't know, McDreamy or McSteamy, whoever they are, they find her and then they help her out. But then the prince from that cartoon world comes here, so because he's trying to look for her. But it's just such a funny movie, and the guy from the Sonic movie is the prince, and he's such a hilarious character in that movie. Personally, I love all of the Star Wars movies. If anything, my favorite episodes are 1 and 3 for the prequels and 4 and 6 for the original. But yeah, least favorite is episode 2. I like the first prequel. I thought was good. Portlock. The second one was definitely the weakest of the 3. Out of all the Star Wars movies, my favorite is Empire Strikes Back, and my second favorite is Revenge of the Sith, which is episode 3. Best way to deal with this is to internalize the things you don't like and see if you think it's good or bad. Mendez, Greg's still going. No, Mendez, we started at 5. I think we're gonna start starting at 5 from now on. I wanted to see that Enchanted. Yeah, watch Enchanted. It's very funny. Your community is how to be angry and upset. That's what it is. Yeah, there's no good in video game. I don't know. I wanted to get that off my chest because I was very annoyed. I am at a point where I'm just exhausted with just hating everything so much. And to be honest, I have stepped away from Twitter for the last couple of days. I know that I've popped on and said some funny things or tried to make some jokes or something. But I got tired of, especially on that first day, I got so tired of scrolling through my feed and it was Sonic. And all everybody was talking about was the same thing, was the one aspect of it that they don't like, which is the visuals of the character. And it got a little exhausting for me. And I was thinking about it, I'm so tired of just hating things automatically. And I hope that if you are also tired of this stuff too, then the next time you encounter something, the next time you encounter a new trailer for a movie or a game, or the next time you play a movie or a game, or you watch a stream or something, maybe look at it and instead of just saying, "Oh, that's awful," maybe look at what's good about it. Maybe start to focus on just the positive aspects of it, because there might be something there that you like. I've had people ask me before if I was ever going to do video game reviews, and I've had ideas for what I would do for video game reviews, although I don't think I would ever bite the bullet and actually do them. One of my ideas was like a sort of only the good reviews. And what I would do is take games and only focus on the things that were good. Sort of like why you should play it. And if I don't mention it, if I don't mention the story, then the story wasn't that good. If I don't mention the graphics, then the graphics weren't that good. But I think I would just rather focus on the positive aspects of things for at least a little while. Yeah, sometimes you can't help but hate on things. Sometimes the bad is just so in your face you can't avoid it. But you get to the point where you start to focus on that. And that doesn't feel healthy. It doesn't look healthy, and it just can't possibly be any sort of good. Maybe more retrospectives rather than reviews. Yeah, you look for two positives. Yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, I have anxiety. Of course, I'm tired of being. Yeah, Neon Mole. Um, my anxiety is sort of I have it mostly under control, but it does come out from time to time, and I think that's my problem. I think that's part of my problem is that I draw a lot of emotion from what's around me, and when I'm surrounded by people who just want to complain about stuff all the time, that affects me very negatively. For anybody that knows who Kevin Hart is, yes, he's awesome. I recently did a podcast with Joe Rogan about keeping a positive mindset, responding to negativity with positivity. It was honestly fantastic. I can't recommend enough. Everybody watch it. I'll look for that. Yeah, this is less of a rant. This is more of me just getting this out because I am kind of exhausted with it, and I like to do this every once in a while just because I want everybody to know that if you are feeling the same way, there are other people that feel this way, that they are tired of it. So one of the things I see commonly is people who take breaks from social media and they almost are apologetic for it. You know, they're telling people, oh, I'm sorry, I need to get away from Twitter, I need to get away from Facebook, I apologize. And I would say that you don't need to apologize. I would say that with all the negativity out there, you need to get away from it from time to time. And I don't like to get away from it just because it is a strong connection for me. You know, social media is a great connection for me. It's a great way for me to connect just because physically I don't have a lot of people around me that I want to connect with other than Beth. You know, everybody else that I connect with is far away from me. So social media is a good way for me to connect with people. So I don't like to disconnect from it too often. But so instead of disconnecting, I think one of the things that I'm getting better at is just focusing on the positive. And sometimes you get bombarded with it. It just drives me crazy. During the cast down to who you, he literally talks about this stuff during the cast. Down to who you surround. Okay, he's talking about that. Okay. Yeah, let's drop the bomb. That's my final stream. No, definitely not. Nightbot's touching me. I need an adult. Nightbot is an adult. Just let it happen. Apparently Jim Cummings is a POS. Yeah, I heard something about that. Okay. All right. Change the pace. Viewer topics. If you have anything that you want to discuss, if you want to just continue discussing something else that we were discussing, if you have any questions that you want to ask, this is sort of the open mic. Maybe I should get like an open mic picture or something. This is sort of the open mic forum for you to do that. So if you have anything that you wanted to bring up, issues that topics that we may have missed that came up during the week or anything like that, you can definitely talk about that here. I'm finally home and on a stable connection. Oh, you mean like with horses? Or different kind of stable? Your situation with anxiety is very similar to mine. So I totally understand what you mean. Yeah, my anxiety situation, one of the things that is my biggest trigger for anxiety, I work at a train station. And when people come in and they're rushing and they got to get their money because the train's coming and they got to get that and they got to get the ticket and they got to get the change. That to me is one of the... immediate anxiety when those people come in because I feed off of that energy and I can't help it. And it makes me move around. And I always tell people, like, calm down, because if I make a mistake, you're going to be late. I'm not letting you walk out of here with more money than you should get. So it's going to be bad for us all. But yeah, I feed off of that and it's so bad. Hold on. Yeah, just make sure that you don't completely ignore. Yeah, Sean, I try not to close myself off to a realistic view of what's going on around me. Because yeah, if you do nothing but look at the positive, it's not a real world view, and that's not healthy either. Do you have thoughts on Borderlands 3? Not really, Lilac. I don't play Borderlands. I've never played any of the other Borderlands, like zero played Borderlands. I wouldn't mind giving it a shot. People have told me that it's fun. I'm not a huge fan of the first person view, but I do like the sort of comic aesthetic to everything. So I am interested in giving it a shot. One of my favorite cosplays that I've ever seen pictures of was Ellie from, I think, Borderlands 2, and somebody wore a big suit, and it was phenomenal. If I ever remember to post a picture of it, I will. Can we discuss how a group of Avenger fans assaulted a dude for spoiling Endgame? Justified. No, it's definitely not justified. That is an example of people taking it a little bit too far. I would like to know, Lizard, what the situation was. Was it somebody who just happened to be mentioning something and they decided to get violent with him? Was he one of those people who knew that they were fans, knew that they would be pissed off about spoilers, and decided to shout spoilers at them anyway? I think I would like to know what the situation is that went on in that. Someone with mental disability, I don't know how to feel about the Burger King mental health meal. How do you feel about that? I saw those goofy meals that you're not happy all the time, so we have all of these pissed meals. By the way, I don't care what you're trying to do. Pissed meal is the worst thing you could possibly sell in your store. What would be even the only way to make it worse would be to make the drink Mountain Dew. I don't know that I like it. I don't know that I hate it, but it does kind of seem like it is taking advantage of the idea of mental health and emotional states in order to sell things. I posted a thing where they talked about because you're not happy all the time. I never really thought that it was definitely a dig at Happy Meals. I never thought that Happy Meals were telling me that I was happy all the time. I just thought that they would try and make you happy. I mean, it's food that came with a toy. Who's not happy about that? But saying if you're sad, come buy a sad meal. If you're pissed, come buy a pissed meal. Still, God, that's awful. I don't know. It does seem a little bit like not pandering, but it does seem a little ridiculous. I don't know, man. I think what's worse is that it's Burger King and they're not as good as McDonald's. Hot take. I got nothing. Haven't been in the stream in a week. I'm still laughing about that later. I have a question, but I don't want to. Okay, well then just ask the question. Don't point out. Since Nintendo is doing Mario Kart Tour demo, what are your thoughts on that game? On what that game might be? Arwing, I think it's going to be a fun mobile game. I forgot to put in my application for that too. They did send me an email to apply for that. I don't know, I think it'll be a fun mobile game. I think the thing with mobile games is that they exist in their own realm. So the existence of a mobile game shouldn't affect the rest of the world of that game. I don't think we're not going to get Mario Kart 9 because there's a Mario Kart cell phone game. So it's like we're getting an Animal Crossing. I don't think that the Animal Crossing that we're getting was delayed because we had Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Cell phone games, mobile games like that exist in their own world, so they're fine. As for what the game is, I have no idea. I don't know if it's just going to be a mobile Mario Kart game or if there's going to be some sort of you earn items and you can power up your car and stuff like that. Microtransactions, going to have microtransactions probably. Question above for you. Oh, I guess that was the Burger King question. I heard this will happen with. Wait, hold on. Hold on. This happened with Star Wars Force Awakens. A guy walked out and shouted the scene with Han. The only thing I found a little funny. See, yeah. The guy that punched him was dressed as Chewie. See, yeah, Lilac. That is not a case of just a spoiler leaking out. That is a person. Yeah, the guy left the theater to immediately start yelling spoilers. All right, that person, while I can't condone any kind of violence, that person deserves some sort of punishment, not because he was spoiling a movie, but because he made it his point to go out there and do something that he knew was going to upset people. That to me is a problem. That to me is a sign of I think sociopath is the right word. And while I'm not going to say that he deserves to get the crap kicked out of him by a bunch of people, you can't say that he didn't deserve some sort of punishment for intentionally going out and trying to upset people. It would be if you saw a guy walking down the street shouting obscenities at people, shouting insults at people, shouting racial slurs at people, and somebody slapped him. You would think that that was justified because he was going out of his way. Obviously, if he had an issue making him do that, that's different. But if he was consciously going out of his way to upset people, you have to expect some sort of reaction. Maybe a bunch of people beating this guy up is a bit of an overreaction, but you have to expect a reaction. All right, I'm gonna try and jump ahead here real quick. Wait, is that a real thing? Yes, it is. How do you deal with people who crap all over what you love? You say, nigga. You just sort of let it roll. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If they crap on you, then you separate yourself from them. That's just plain and simple. But if they're upset that you like a thing that they don't, then okay, then you like a thing that they don't. I last few days I've had some pretty hot takes about the Sonic movie and about some other things, and people say, "Oh, well, you're wrong." I say, "Oh, okay, that's fine." What people think of you is none of your business. That's something that you need to understand. That's something a lot of people need to understand. And they think that it is their business. What other people think of you is none of your business. They are allowed to think whatever they want to think. When they start treating you like less than a person because of those feelings, because of those thoughts, that's when you have the opportunity to react. Other than that, just separate yourself if you're having a problem with it. I've asked works too, and I had some people claim to be doing this stuff for me because I need help. And it pisses. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. You guys hear that the guy who was Peter Mayhew, Peter Mayhew passed away April 30th. They only just announced that, I think, yesterday. I guess maybe his family was getting everything together. Yeah, that is unfortunate. That is. I know that he's had a lot of medical issues as an extremely tall person. There's like circulation issues and stuff that he had. I know he was walking with a cane for a long time now. So it's unfortunate that happens. You know, it's the frightening thing. It'll happen to you is that as you get older, the people from the things that you've loved as a kid, you know, you're gonna start hearing about that stuff. You know, so it's always kind of sad. I legit didn't know how to answer that question. Okay. So he sounds like the Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince spoiler guy. Someone who spoils everything just to ruin it for everybody else, just for the fun of making people upset. It's no different than somebody, say, coming into a stream where everybody's talking about stuff and just randomly spitting out endgame spoilers, and now I can't make that video live because there's a giant endgame spoiler in the middle of last week's episode. That video, last week's episode of Silver Lining, is uploaded and it's sitting there. Everything is edited. It's got a thumbnail and everything, and I'm refusing to put it up because there is an endgame spoiler in the chat that I wasn't able to get to in time. Don't kink shame. I don't care if kink shaming. Yeah, kink shaming is my kink. But yeah, as far as the whole spoiler thing, 5 bits for Lord Sage and Royal Feeder. Thank you, Lilac, for the 50 bits. Thank you very much for that. Very, very much appreciated. Of course, as always. Speaking of the Sagers, the Sagers is actually here right now. Buddy, you want to come on up? Come on. Meow, 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 meow. He thinks he's going to get treats, but he's not going to get treats. Not yet, anyway. I'll give him treats after the show. Come on out, buddy. Meow. Come on. There you go. It comes down to power, control, and influence. People seek it out. Yeah, and maybe that's it, DB. Oh, yeah, I did ban that guy. Agent Fox, that guy's name was Endgame Spoilers. The guy who did that, he made that account specifically to go around and spoil Endgame for people. That's exactly what he did. My problem was that I didn't get to it in time. I saw his name and I even commented on his name, but I went to go and ban him. But he got to the spoilers before I could get there. Yeah, there was a spoiler in there. I can't really talk about the spoilers yet, and I won't. But it wasn't the worst spoilers. It didn't. To me, it didn't spoil one of the most dramatic moments of the movie, so I was okay with that. Mwah. Meow. Oh, good boy. Oh, good boy. Mwah. Change is a good boy. Yeah, he'll get some treats after this. Okay. Yeah, it happened here. Right, it happened last week. Like 47 minutes in or something like that. I know because I was at that marker on the timestamp on the timeline trying to figure out how to get rid of it. That was how I realized that I remembered that I don't have Windows Movie Maker. Windows Movie Maker is what I was using to make clips and stuff, and now I don't have it anymore on the new system. Somebody said you can still download it, but I can't find it anywhere. Spoiler ban lifts Monday, I think. Okay, yeah, next week. How about we'll get one more of these episodes out, and then maybe next week, maybe next Saturday, I'll post 2 episodes. Kevin Hart touches on something very like the. Oh, I'm gonna have to listen to this thing. DB, how long is that thing, by the way? Sony Vegas, Adobe. Yeah, I downloaded Hit Film, which is supposed to be free, but then you can pay for a version of it. I made an edit on Hit Film, and it had these big giant orange triangles that is their logo splashed across the screen. So I won't be using that anymore. Gotta go back to work. Don't worry, Arwen, we're about to wrap up here. Thank you everybody for we are gonna wrap up now. Thank you everybody for stopping in and for hanging out and for putting up with what's the point of going around spoiling stuff? Because you know it's going to piss people off, and when you incite that kind of reaction, it feels like it gives people power. Thank you everyone for stopping in and for hanging out, for enduring my slight rants and my little bit of getting stuff off my chest there for the old man yells at cloud portion of the show. If you're watching this right now and you have not followed, please click follow and check the links down below to follow me over on Twitter also. If you're watching this on YouTube, check the links down below that I hopefully remembered to put there, and follow me over on Twitch and Twitter, which is where I update everything. I think we are going to change the show time to 5 o'clock permanently, so I need to change the thingy down at the bottom, the little banner. Okay, Baelish, did you fall on your keyboard there? Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Play some fun games. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but get outside and have some fun with the weather. No, I don't raid I don't raid for the show just because I transfer the show right over to YouTube. But everybody will please make it a point to go over there, and because Johnny is alive right now, so make it a point to head over there. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you all next week.